if this message is finding you, then you are someone who's going through a massive rebirth at this time, or the potential for that exists in your awareness at this time. We have the Phoenix and the Bear reversed here. You're rising up out of the ashes, out of a time of stagnation is what it feels like. You've been stagnant for some time. You may have felt like you've been in a hibernation season of your life, a hermit season, maybe even. But the energy here is telling me, with the peacock here, you're digesting something. You're beginning to move towards digesting something. The peacock can talk about the navel, the solar plexus, having this strong sense of self where we're able to handle anything that comes our way. It's a very rare, advanced ability to kind of burn away impurity, transform through fire. So I'm seeing this double fire here, the Phoenix, the peacock. You're rising from the underworld into your sovereignty, your autonomy, your inner authority, your sense of fire, your sense of self. Strength, very strong, very bold, very courageous is what it feels like. Something you felt you could not do, you are doing now, or you're ready to do now. You are ready to face it with all your will, with all your might. Zebra with hummingbird reversed and lamb reversed. Okay. Okay, this is very interesting because it feels like you're afraid to stand out. You're afraid to stand out from the crowd. You're afraid to separate from the pack a little bit. You're afraid of stepping away from conformity. And conformity and herd mentality, hive mind, can infiltrate us without us even realizing it. It's so insidious. Just because you have exited one group and entered another group does not mean that you are now immune to hive mind. It can mean that you're just substituting your individuality, or shall I say, you're substituting the conformity that you had in one group for the conformity you have in another, this chameleon-like energy. So there's a fear here, or there's this resistance to standing apart and being able to just stand apart and let that be. Let that be who you are. Who cares? You know, it's kind of this who cares feeling. And that's a lesson, that's a journey. It's hard to just say, who cares, when we really do care. And we always will care. But there's this feeling that you're meant to stand apart anyway. You're meant to stand apart. You're meant to do your own thing. You're meant to kind of just be firm in yourself anyway. With hummingbird reverse, though, it's like not nourishing yourself in the way that you could be. And this has come out in messages yesterday, I believe, and before. You're not nourishing yourself in the way that your spirit is calling for you to be nourished. The hummingbird, right? The hummingbird talks about finding nectar through creativity, spiritual practice, joyful activity, self-care. It knows where to find the nectar, but it's a unique bird and it finds nectar in unique places. So you're being called to find this nectar, this joy, this joie de vivre in unique places. With the lamb, there's a message, there's something that you're not able to access, you're not able to hear clearly, your own intuition, your own sense of inner stillness, because you're meant to take this action. It's being blocked because you're not feeling, okay, so stagnant and still are not the same thing, right? You're ready to rise. You're rising out of stagnancy. But just because you are physically still does not mean that you're internally, spiritually still. We can have so much chaos. We can have so much blockage. We can have so much sludge and muck happening within us when we're stagnant. But when we're still, we can be in fast-paced motion. We can be traveling the world. We can be running around doing a million things, but we can still be still internally. Do you know what I mean? It's a difference between internal state and external state. Just because you're stagnant on the outside or still on the outside does not mean you're still on the inside. So it feels like you would find stillness by maybe even traveling a bit, maybe going out of the house, maybe going out and around and about and just kind of being in flow with yourself. This would be some kind of nourishment. It's a unique form of nourishment. It might not look like nourishment, but it is nonetheless. You'll know what that means for you. Phoenix reversed and Wolf reversed with Horse on the bottom of the deck. Some of you might be resisting what you know to be good for you. Resisting this transformation you're going through. Resisting it because it's intimidating, resisting it because it feels like it might really trigger something to do within you around authorities or hierarchies, teachers even, it could be. Something where it's like an inner part of you does not want to listen to something within yourself. It could be your own inner teacher, your own inner authority, or it could just be some kind of entanglement around the idea of power and authority in general, that there's just resistance here. There's a murkiness here, and there's a feeling of maybe wanting to revert into something that feels softer or something that feels easier, something that feels more familiar and comfortable, but you're being challenged with the Horse here. And I think the Stingray is coming out. Yeah, the Stingray is coming out as well. The Horse and the Stingray. These are like strong backbone, strong sense of self. The Horse talks about strength training, meditation. The Stingray talks about moving through discomfort. You're meant at this time to really lean into the discomfort and lean into the resistance training of it all. Strengthening through feeling a little bit of pressure, a little bit of going a little further than you normally would, getting a little more uncomfortable than you normally would, leaning into the instinct, into the fire. There may be people even around you. Maybe it could be me, it could be people online. There could be people trying to tell you this, or trying to tell you, okay, you're being called to step up. You're being called to like really step up and get a little uncomfy. But there's part of you that might resist this. There's part of you that might feel like, well, there's another way. A little bit of maybe like a stubbornness, and that's okay. You know, stubbornness can be a sign that we're strong-willed and that we have a strong sense of self, but stubbornness can also be a sign that our ego is very active, that our ego is very active and that it is not willing to shift or adapt. Yeah, it's interesting. There's a question here too around when you project onto this type of thing, whether that could be like leadership, or whether that could be like coaching, or whether that could be just these figures in life who challenge us for our growth. When you feel sort of like when you feel an energy around them, or you feel a discomfort around them, check into like where that's coming from deep down, especially if these are people who are challenging you for growth and where there's nothing actually objectively wrong with it on the surface. Yeah, we have Rabbit, Black Egg. Okay, so terrified of your truth. Terrified of your truth. Somebody's very afraid of their truth. Someone's afraid of speaking their truth, being very honest and direct, like actually expressing who they really are. And this is part of why this strengthening, getting uncomfortable, is important, because you're moving into a time where your soul is ready to expand and be this phoenix, rise out of stagnation. It's ready to start speaking, living in truth. And you could be a very sensitive, you could be a very empathic person, you could be very energetically sensitive. It could have something to do with that. But it's like you're almost hyper-vigilant around this truth. Hyper-vigilant around what people are going to think, how people are going to act. And so that could also be part of it. When people are challenging you to grow and you're avoiding that growth, or you're saying, I don't need that, or there's an easier way, there's a more comfortable way. It could be that it's like the ego trying to avoid having to face the truth of the soul, which requires this risky, bold stepping out, this fire, this passion, right? That's the thing. Nothing worth accomplishing in life, nothing worth creating in life is usually easy. It usually requires us to be challenged in our own unique way. This is not saying you're about to step out on the world stage and be in front of thousands of people. I'm not saying that. For most of you, that's probably not the case. For most of you, it's going to be something that you've been attracted to in your life for a long time, but you've resisted because there's something built up around it, but you're ready to burn through it. Okay, here we go. This is going to wrap up the message here because same cards are coming out again. That's how I know. Whale reversed, swan reversed, starfish reversed, hummingbird reversed on the bottom of the deck. Okay, so to leave you off with this message here, there is an ancient wisdom emerging in you that wants to emerge in you. This very grounded but emotionally mature sense of self within you. It's giving me kind of like a King of Cups or a Queen of Cups kind of an energy here. And there's an identity that you're holding on to, or a facade or a mask that wants to fall. The energy is saying, I want to unmask. I want to drop the old story. I want to drop the blockage to my own creative channel. I want to start nourishing myself. I want to actually start taking this creative path seriously, or I want to start taking this spiritual path seriously, or I want to start taking this forward momentum in my life situation seriously. I want to move out of stagnation. And we can try to hack it all we want, find all of these side routes and escape hatches, etc., to try to get around that the easy way. But it feels like whoever I'm reading for here, there's something that wants to be burned through with fire, is the feeling. And when I say burned through with fire, it doesn't necessarily mean like extremely intense and painful every day of your life. That's not what I'm saying. That's not good for you either. What I'm saying is, it feels like discipline. It feels like there's discipline being called for, some kind of consistent, disciplined action that aligns you with who you're becoming or wanting to become, or who your soul's calling you to become. There's something here where you've visualized it a lot. You have imagined things a lot. You've idealized things a lot. And now it's time to start taking those actions. It's time to start doing it, even if it's messy, even if it's imperfect, even if it doesn't look the way you think it should on paper. Most great creative projects, most great paths in our lives don't look the way we think they're going to in our mind. And that's the truth of it. It does not look the way you think it's going to. It will not look exactly like you are trying to envision it in your mind. It's going to look human. It's going to look different. It's going to look earthly because you're creating it in an earthly realm. And all you can do is your best. And that's all that matters. That's all you're being asked to do, is just do your best. Do your best and try to find the process of that feels best. And as long as you're showing up consistently, still being fluid and adaptable, but being strong-willed in that, and not deluding ourselves, right, into thinking that something's going to just show up if we don't put in energy, right, then you're going to be good. You're going to be fine. So this is your message. I hope this helps. I love you lots. Take care.